Hey, what's up, guys? Node Investor here. This is going to be the rapid fire edition. Let's look at some coins. Let's look at some charts. I'm going to try to get through as many as I can in as short as time as possible. So grab a piece of paper, get your notepad out, whatever you take notes on your phone, your computer. You might want to write some of these down for future reference, some to keep an eye on. So I mentioned yesterday, we are in a little correction. We're going to bounce. Let's see who bounces the fastest, the strongest, who starts leading the way up, or who holds up the best. That's typically what you want to look for. I've got a bunch of different tokens, wide variety, some that I never talk about, some that are familiar to you guys already. But let's take a look at some of these charts. Before we get to it, let's get to the markets. Bitcoin, $2,533, not bad. Ethereum bouncing back to 273. Hitting that resistance zone I was talking about. Let's see what happens here. Dash, 173. Litecoin, just shy of $39. Monero, $43. Ripple, 25 cents. Ethereum Classic, 1775. Pivx has been pretty resilient here, I gotta say. $1.79. Zcash, 321. NEM, 16 cents. And Lumens, 3 cents. Before I get started, a couple of big thank you guys to the subscribers, those that have stuck with me, some of the newcomers. Thank you guys for your support. Several of you guys are picking up the cryptocurrency 101 course as well as the technical analysis video course and have left me some very positive feedback, very encouraging. I'm glad you guys are liking it, so appreciate the support there. And one last thing, I forgot to mention in the last video, but I did a interview, joined the show with the Crypto Bit Brothers, and it was a fun video. I will put a link down in the notes. Go check out that video, check out their channel. Fun couple of guys to watch. If you're not familiar with them, check them out. Let's get to it. So what I want to do here is go through some charts. So a couple of names in no particular order. Remember what I mentioned is you want to see some relative strength. Who's bouncing back the fastest? Who's coming back? So let's start with the big boys, right? We saw what happened with Bitcoin. So let's look at Bitcoin real quick to kind of just set the stage here. On the daily charts, you can see Bitcoin had some pretty decent support here. We saw some big volume support showing up 2 days in a row now. Big volume right here. Positive sign. You like to see that, especially at these longer term moving averages. It's still below the shorter term moving average, and it's still putting in this little bit of a downtrend. We're not out of the woods yet, but that's a good sign. Let's look at Ethereum real quick. Ethereum's a little bit of a different story. I'm a little more bearish on Ethereum, as you guys know, but this is good. We saw some big volume support show up. It went all the way down to basically 200, and it's bouncing. Now, I mentioned, guys, in the Twitter, I mentioned on the video, I expect it to bounce to about 280, 300 before we start running into resistance. We are right there. So this is going to be a critical test right here to see what Ethereum does. Let's zoom in a little bit on the 4-hour charts here. You can see where we're at. We're bouncing into these major moving averages. We cleared the shorter term one, but I expect sellers to start showing up here in the $280 to $300 zone. If we do see that and we see another leg down, it's going to be critical to see how far it drops. I don't expect us to drop to below this 190, 200 area, but if we do, next level of support is way down here in the 150 to 140 area. So keep an eye out for that, guys. There's been some encouraging action on the volume. You can see the big volume support on the up. That's about as good of a sign as you can get here. So a lot of buyers showed up to support the price on the upside. But I don't think we're out of the woods yet. So I'm not going to declare the bottom is in just yet. That being said, let's look at some potential leaders that might be emerging here on the way up should the markets turn around here. I've already talked about Litecoin. You guys know I like Litecoin. I'm into Litecoin. It's been one I've seen. So we've already covered this one in depth. I'm not going to go into too much this one, but you can see we had a little bit of a pullback here right at the longer term 50-day moving average. Good doubled support there. pretty constructive pullback on the downside. Not a big volume selling. You guys remember the breakout happened here a couple of weeks back. We've held that breakout point. So if you missed the breakout and you like Litecoin, this is your chance to get in, because I expect Litecoin to resume its rally, and we can see $40-50 here soon. So look at that one. Ant shares. Now, Ant shares, I'm the first to admit the name Ant shares and the logo I thought was pretty silly, but they're rebranding. They're going to Neo. The technology behind Ant shares / Neo is actually pretty impressive. I like the project. The team is very impressive. I mean, they did a conference which kind of ran this up, got a lot of press. But here's what I like about this one here. So if we look at the last breakouts, let's do a Fibonacci retracement on this one. You can see basically from this point out, sorry about that. You can see from this last breakout, now this is BTC level, but on the dollar chart, this was right around a couple of bucks, and it went from there to basically $12. You can see where it went to on the daily chart. Let me zoom in for you. It had a pretty good pullback all the way down to the 78.6 level, which also coincided with the 30-day EMA and pretty much just held that. Today we saw a very nice volume reversal to the upside, cleared that shorter term moving average again. Let's zoom in a little bit here so you can see where we're at on Ant shares. So we're bouncing here. We're hitting that 50-day moving average. It's expected to pull back a little bit here at this point. So the critical level will be, can we hold this new little uptrend that it's creating? And most importantly, are we going to hold these shorter term moving averages? It looks like it wants to. So keep an eye on Ant shares. I'm bullish on Ant shares here. I like what I'm seeing. I like the fundamentals behind the project. And it's only $300 million in market cap, so it's a little lower on the scale here. An emerging leader potentially. They're calling it the Ethereum of China. We'll see. That's a big shoe to fill there. But Ant shares is looking strong. Let's go to the next one here. Speaking of, let's just go to next. And we're talking about the next one here. Let's just go to next. So next on the BTC is looking like it's putting in a nice base here. Solid support. Showing in right around this 6,000 Satoshi mark. So next is setting up a nice little flag pattern here. If we zoom out on the dailies, you can see that a little bit better there. You saw the big volume pop here recently. The only negative I would say on next is we had these two big volume reversal selling days here. So that's going to be a critical area for next to clear. That's around 8,500 Satoshi, but this solid support here is looking good. It's been very strong, very resilient in this selling in the last couple days. So next, from a technical perspective, looks very strong. Let's look at Steem. I mentioned Steem here recently. Steem, not too bad on Steem. What I like about Steem is this couple of days of support that came in here recently, right at the 50-day moving average. It's still rolling over a little bit, so it really needs to clear this shorter term 10-day moving average. So keep an eye on Steem, see if it can pull in a little bit of a reversal here right at, let's call it 70,000, 71,000 Satoshi. So right around here, not too bad on Steem. Volume on the downside or during this little consolidation has been very constructive. You can see the volume here pretty much drying up as the move consolidates, which is what you want to see typically. So pretty good move on Steem there. Coin. So Coin has been a leader. Let's go to a different exchange here. Poloniex, so Coin, very young in the charts, right? So the first bar here is 5th of May. So not a lot of history. This is the daily charts. And we had the first little setup here. I issued a trade alert in the newsletter, some tweets on here. And sure enough, we broke out. We went straight to about 700 Satoshi before it started putting another base here, and then recently broke out again until this recent selling. But look at where it's holding right here. Very good support right at the old highs over here. So this is a really good sign. The old resistance is now becoming support. This is what you like to see. So LITECOIN looking good here, holding these 30 period moving averages. I'm liking it. Let's zoom in a little bit. So pretty good volume showing up here today, but the downtrend definitely is not broken on this one yet. So nothing actionable, but it looks like it's done for now. If the markets sell off, all bets are off here, but right now LITECOIN looks pretty good. Stratus. Let's look at Stratus. So some familiar names. You guys are following these closely, I'm sure. I've seen a lot of comments and questions on these, but Stratus, the downtrend again, still not broken. What I like about it though is it's held this support level several times here recently, and so you can see it's going back, and it just kind of coincides with this consolidation it had here in a few months back here, a few weeks ago. So this is the 4-hour chart on Stratus. The level to watch here is this critical support that it's put in recently. Let's call that 24,000 Satoshi or so. On the dollar basis, it's trading around $6 at $5 to $6 range. High $5, low $6 has been pretty good support lately. So watching Stratus, looking for a reversal here. Another one to look at, LISC. Mentioned LISC also. LISC was tightening up real nice here. It looked like it was about to break out right before we had this market sell-off, and I was watching it closely. I thought for sure we were going to see a little breakout from this triangle pattern it was putting in, but then the market sold off. So let's see if it can reverse here. Right now it's a little bit of a downtrend, but again, big support came in on LISC here recently. So if we zoom in a little bit, you can see these big tails on the candlestick and they shoot all the way back up. Those are buyers stepping in. Even though the bar is red, those are buyers because the volume's up. The tail was a big reversal. You see a couple of those to the downside. So right now, this is a very solid area of support for LISC. So we may be done going down here. If it begins to break this little downtrend that it's in, that's going to be the signal that we could be moving higher on LISC. So one to watch on that. PIVX. So PIVX has been resilient here. Let's watch PIVX here. So this is PIVX versus Bitcoin, and you can see it's not really going on the downtrend. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit here. So since late May, early June, PIVX has kind of been putting in this little flag pattern here, and it's an ascending triangle, which is a very bullish formation. And so you can see the top forming right here. So this one is probably one of the stronger ones I'm looking at today. Smaller market cap, down below the $100 million range, down on the list some, but looking good right here. So keep an eye on PIVX. I'm really liking this. It looks like it's turning around, putting in some pretty solid support. Volume hasn't been too good here. I mean, it's not heavy volume. This low here was pretty decent reversal volume, so that was nice. But if you see a big volume move above this little 79, 80,000 Satoshi level, you might see another run up on PIVX. It'll probably clear that $2 area that's been resistant so far. So PIVX looking nice. Cloak. So I did that show with the CryptoBit brothers, and we looked at Cloak. Now, Cloak has just been crazy strong. Big volume coming in. A couple of days ago, though, however, we did see this big volume reversal. Even though that's a green bar, see how that has that long candle wick to the top? That's selling. So not typically what you want to see. You saw that right here too, and it paused for a little bit. So if we see a little bit of a pause, it could go sideways. Let these moving averages catch up. But Cloak looking pretty good. Couple of more here. Burst, another one, smaller one, recently added to a big online casino of some sort. I'm not familiar with those, but getting some attention. I guess it's one of 4 coins on that casino. So looking at this, had that big volume pop, looked like it was about to break out again. We hit the market selling, but look at where it held. That shorter turn 10 period EMA, that 10-day, very bullish. When it holds those really short-term moving averages, that means there's not a lot of sellers here. There, it was extended here, no doubt, and it's pulling right back to the breakout point. So this is actually very bullish when it pulls right back to that breakout point and then just holds that. Look at the volume. Volume on that was dropping as it pulled back. So Burst is looking pretty good. Very bullish, holding that 10-day. That's where you want to see it hold. I could see it popping from here and starting the next leg up. The only negative on this one, again, that big selling wick up here, which kind of coincides with this, even though this second one is a little bit higher, so that kind of negates it, but certainly has been an area of resistance, so around 950 Satoshi or so. What else? What else? Let me see here. Some smaller, more obscure names. Here's one that caught my attention. Radium. So again, similar. Just been charging up here recently. Very steady, very smaller cap. So a lot more risk, more volatility, but just strong, marching along. Didn't see a lot of selling here. It did have this long pullback, big volume bar on the reversals. So a lot of support came in on this couple of days here. It's kind of consolidating right here, but Radium looking really strong relative strength wise. Omni. So let's look at Omni. Might have to jump to Plunging. So Omni, look at this. About to make new highs here. I mean, versus BTC, Omni is about to break out. So it's putting in this little cup here. Never broke below that 10-day EMA. So look at Omni. Had that big volume break here, consolidating during this recent selling. Saw very little downside. So holding its own against Bitcoin and looking like it wants to move higher. Mona. Again, these are smaller, more obscure, but same thing. Look at this. Nice little base here, pop to the upside, another little base here, and then big volume shows up right before the selling showed up. But look, it never even came close to that 10-day. Touched it once and just holding its own. So look at that consolidation right there. Very nice flag pattern. If this market turns up, these are the ones you're going to want to watch to see that next move up. Even if it's just a short-term trade, you can get a pretty decent pop on some of these. So that's going to be it for now, guys. I gave you a lot of stuff to look at, a pretty good list. Take a look at these. Again, these are not buy recommendations. These are nice setups. These are good relative strength and potential leaders going forward if this market decides to move forward from here. Even though the charts look decent, you got to do your research. Look at the fundamentals. Look at the project itself. Do you believe in it? Do you like the idea? If you don't understand it, if you have no clue what they do, then you probably should not be buying or investing in these. I hope this helped, guys. Till next time, take care.